welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome into Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson, proud alum of Brother Rice High School, a local product.
Local product.
Local product. The host of the CHGO White Sox podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. The great thing about this podcast, all local products. Vinnie Duber of Geneva High School. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. He's got a lot of new posts up on allchgo.com. One about our main topic, Nicky Lopez. One about our main topic yesterday, Mike Clevenger, and you can get all the details and facts from Vinny's piece if you are looking to reading up about that situation. And then also you have the lovely and very fun mailbag for our CHGO diehards that I think people should look into, and I think it's very fitting now that you pulled that Graham Parker album, because local girls, local guys, Nicky Lopez, yes, and everyone's favorite local product, Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. As Alex says, not the Naperville North guy. I thought that was, I just saw North and I was like, no, Wheaton North, Falcons, 96.
Damn straight.
96.
I'm old.
Born in 97 here.
I'm so old that now Vinny and I's schools are in the same conference, Duquesne Conference.
Are they really?
Yes. We used to be in Nicky Lopez's conference, the DVC, but those schools are much too big, and so we went to smaller schools that are closer to us.
When I was in high school, the conference that my high school was in was the Western Sun Conference. Lived in a Chicago suburb. Our high school played Sycamore, played Rochelle.
Yeah.
Rochelle.
DeKalb.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Road trips.
It was was a very long journey from Milan to Minsk. I'll tell you that much.
But yeah, and then also our local product, Naperville Central. So there you go.
Nicky Lopez.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about today. Steven, you're a Stag.
You're a local
alum.
Stag. Yep. Stag High School, also a local product.
Stag alum. I know our guy Alec is a St. Rita alum. So drop your high schools if you want to.
If you're a local product.
Yes.
If you're not, then that's shameful. And
no one cares about your New York PS 954 school.
Who's your daddy had local product set at 40.5 for over under, and I think we're
in
at
this show.
Yeah, I think we're already at 10
blasting past 40.5
for local product.
Yeah. If this trade were to happen, and it doesn't sound like the Royals want to do it, but so there's a spoiler alert for you. But oh my God, Steve and Jason are going to say that literally every day,
every game. I mean, they say it for every game already.
I don't know.
Every Royals game, you hear it.
Have they been re-signed? I don't know. I would assume they've been re-signed.
No news has been released saying that they have been re-signed. I'm not sure what they're waiting for necessarily, but I don't know if you want to get into broadcast details now.
No.
You brought it up, my man.
I love my guy, Jason Benetti. He's just very popular, so I'm sure he's having a hard bargain for the White Sox. I say for him and Adam Amin, we are lucky we have these broadcasters who are nationally wanted, do national games. Adam Amin's on the third NFL team. Jason Benetti's doing NFL games. He's doing NBA games. He's doing college basketball games. So he has very wanted guys. So if he can be brought back for a reasonable price, I'm there.
And Adam Amin, local product. Addison Trail High School.
Yeah.
Jason Benetti, local product.
Jason Benetti, local product.
Homewood Flossmoor.
Good old
everybody.
Everyone
our Chuck,
ever.
Homewood Flossmoor.
Our Lawrence Holmes.
Oh man, we're gonna need to block out the next 20 minutes if we're gonna list
Scott
everybody
Merkin,
that went
local
to
product.
HF.
Local product.
I mean, that's at least what Jason and Steve said. AJ says this in the comments. Jason and Steve said at the end of last year that they will be back. So I don't know if it's just a priority to get those guys signed, yet. I mean, we know how companies work, They're not always the quickest to get things done. It's not baseball yet. It's kind of like ADHD time. There's now and then there's later. Maybe it's just for a later date. Maybe I doubt NBC Sports Chicago and the White Sox would let that crew break up. I don't think that would be a great PR. But we kind of did see the Blackhawks get a little bamboozled by Eddie Olczyk. I mean, that did surprise at least the Blackhawks people when he ended up going to Seattle. So, I mean, I shouldn't say it's 100% that they'll be back, but I would probably put it like 90% back that those two will be back in the White Sox booth.
I've gotten used to their broadcast style, and even when the team is bad, it's still a entertaining product because they make it like a talk show. They have good banter between each other. I like how their energy flows, kind of like I liked how Ed and DJ flowed when I was doing and listening to the radio station. So yeah, if they're coming back, I'll be a big time fan of that. If they're not, other circumstances don't let them come back, I'll be sad, but I'll be looking forward to the next person that is taking over one of those people's jobs.
Ed Farmer, local product.
Ed Farmer, local product, St. Rita.
St. Rita.
Eddie Olczyk, local product.
Eddie Olczyk, Brother Ice. There you go. My friends, now, back when the Hawks won back in 2015, that's when I was in high school, not 1996, Eddie Olczyk brought the cup to Brother Ice.
Cool.
I have a picture with the cup. I have a picture with Mr. Olczyk.
In 2015, you were like 4 years old. Were you sitting in the cup?
I have a little baby. I mean, if you saw the yearbook challenge that Casey put out, you saw my baby-faced high school picture. So that's basically what I look like. It's me without a beard. It's basically just if I shaved. Shout out to our Buffalo Grove High School from Bill.
BG.
He says PG High School. What's up? And Stephen Bardo, Maine South.
Local products.
Local products. There you go. Drink. We'll get to the local products.
Do not, because you'll be on the floor very soon.
I asked Steven what he was doing, our producer, Steven Nicholas, again, local product. I asked him what he was doing after the show, and he said, nothing. I'm going home. And that's the worst thing that he's actually told me now, because we have to have a social video now after each and every show. Our little short's going to be every single time we say
Supercut.
Local product.
Local product supercut.
I'm not doing that.
No. Come on, Steven. We'll have so much fun staying here for hours and hours and hours. We'll get to the local product trade in just a second. But let's get to some news, mainly for the White Sox and the White Sox alum, White Sox Hall of Famer, Mark Buehrle. He will be on the 2024 Hall of Fame ballot. Right after we ended our show yesterday, the Hall of Fame ballot was revealed. Scott Rolen is the only Hall of Famer for the 2023 class, along with Fred McGriff, at least the only player that was voted in by
the BBWAA.
The BBWAA. Yes. So Scott Rolen in, Fred McGriff also in, and now it's kind of on to 2024 for Mark Buehrle, which is great. He got 10.8% of the vote, up from, I think it was about 6.8 last year. So up 4%. Great for Mark Buehrle. Another year. He's on to year, I think it's now 4.
Yeah, I think that, and we're going to discuss next year's ballot, he's going to be on this ballot for a while now. There's not a lot of great players going in next year, and Mark Buehrle just his case keeps on getting better because of his longevity, because of he's doing 200 innings in 14 consecutive innings, missing the 15th season just by, I think, like a 2/3 of an inning. And so it's looking even better in this day and age, what he did, the three batters, face the minimum batters. No one's ever done that. So I don't know if he'll ever get in by getting voted in, but I think players and or this veteran committee will eventually vote him in. He might be like in his 70s when he gets voted in, but I believe that Mark Buehrle will be appreciated for what he did in his career as we move on, because we see it's such a rarity nowadays.
I could see that. I could definitely see a committee of some fashion voting him in decades from now, right? That's definitely something that could happen with Mark Buehrle.
And that was the whole idea behind #Bust for Buehrle, the campaign that I very, very seldomly push. But why not? I tweet it every now and then. But that was the idea, was just get him 10 years on the ballot, because I think he's an interesting topic. And if you do send him to a veterans committee where he has all these innings pitched, especially with now starters basically going away, not even pitching to the 5th inning, like I do think that Buehrle, with his WAR number being basically at 60, it's at 59. I do think that he's going to be somebody that the younger generation of baseball writers, especially after 10 years has passed of him being on the ballot, and then I think there's even a couple-year layoff before you have to go to the Veterans Committee. Like, I think that generation of sports writer will definitely be a little bit more informed. And also, that Veterans Committee, or at least the team that just voted in Fred McGriff, had Kenny Williams and Frank Thomas on.
Yeah, I was going to say,
pretty good.
It doesn't really matter if you impress a younger generation of writers. They're not going to get to vote on you again, but, it does matter, obviously, what your peers thought of you, and certainly people who have remained in the game for so long.
And Susan Slusser was the writer that kind of led that group as well. And I know that she's voted for Mark Buehrle in her BBWAA vote. So that's 3 of the 15 already that you would say could vote for Mark Buehrle. So, like, That's
You think
great.
Kenny Williams is going to vote for Mark?
I would think that Kenny Williams, and I think that Frank Thomas would vote for Mark Buehrle. I think that Jerry Reinsdorf would give them a nice little paycheck if they did. Even if they don't, I think they might just do it because he's a good guy and great teammate, whatever. Won them World Series, but
if you recall, Frank Thomas's
Harold Payne's got it.
talk show he had on NBC Sports Chicago. One of the first guests he had on was Mark Buehrle, and he said he was one of his favorite teammates. And Frank Thomas, as a Hall of Famer, knows Hall of Fame pitching. Maybe not Roy Halladay, maybe not people of his peers of that time, but you tell anybody back in the day, like Mark Buehrle's in the bumps, like, man, it's going to be a tough day. He's going to work quick. He's going to be hitting spots, and we're not going to get a lot of runs. So we need to get a couple scratched out in the early part of the game and hope he gets pulled out of the game. So I think he has a good shot, especially if these White Sox people stay on that Veterans Committee.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great for Mark Buehrle. That committee definitely does change every now and then. So, I mean, we don't know what it will look like, X amount of years from now. But good for Buehrle. I don't know if he'll get that 75% tile that Scott Rolen just reached. But, the longer that he is on, the better for his case in any single committee.
I'll tell you this about Scott Rolen. Like, I think, we had this conversation about Hall of Famers. What was it? 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah, it was after the Goose shoot because you were talking to Jared about it, and you were like, "Oh, I never thought Scott Rolen was a Hall of Famer when watching him."
Right, and that's kind of remains my opinion. But I'll tell you this: after seeing the video that was tweeted out with him getting to tell his parents that he got into the Hall of Fame, just put everybody in the Hall of Fame. Like, just for the moms and the dads, put everybody in the Hall of Fame so they can all have that awesome moment that he got to share with his folks.
Or like Larry Walker when he was wearing the sponge, like just that horrible outfit. Like, let's make the moms and dads happy, and let's just see how awful these men dress now. Like these rich men.
I love Scott Rolen. Scott Rolen, you just got elected to the Hall of Fame. This is arguably the biggest day of your life. Walks into his mom's kitchen just rocking sweatpants with like a random baseball hat on, like,
he's just like me.
Just another day at the Rolen household, I guess.
Yeah, how much it meant to them. Like, their son was a 7-time All-Star, great player, played for 3 or 4 great organizations, World Series champion, and the emotions their mom and dad and Scott Rolen himself showed. It means something. Like, it means something to each one of these players. They might tell you the Barry Bondses, the Mark McGuires, the Sammy Sosas might tell you, it's just another thing. I don't need it. It means something to each and every one of these players. It's a culmination of everything you've done in your lifetime. Those parents going to drop you off at practice, those parents watching every one of your games, and then getting the recognition, in Scott Rolen's case, years after he stopped playing. It means something to these guys. And and Connor Smith brings up Harold Baines. I was a big person that said, I don't want Harold Baines in the Hall of Fame because I didn't think he was worthy. But for the person, I congratulate him because he got in. It meant a lot to him and his family. Congratulations to Harold Baines. But I remember I railed on. I was like, oh, man, Harold Baines getting in the Hall of Fame means everybody else gets in the Hall of Fame. It hasn't happened yet, which is good. But congratulations to anybody who ever gets nominated, even in the discussion, the ballot. But if you get in, like Scott Rolen did, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I've always thought Scott Rolen was a Hall of Famer just because, man, third base and staying that healthy at third base with the back problems he had is a thing. And he was a 70 WAR player through his career. Look at all the rest of the players you think are great. He was probably a top 10 third baseman of all time.
Absolutely. No, and I saw the one tweet from him, and I love him, our guy, the Carm, talking about Mark Grace and how now Mark Grace needs to be in the Hall of Fame. And it's like, all right, slow down.
Stop.
Mark Grace played first base. That's completely different than Scott Rolen. Scott Rolen won 8 Gold Gloves. Mark Grace won 4 at a less harder position.
That's pretty good.
It's good, but 8's not. 4 isn't 8.
8's twice as good.
Yeah. 3 All-Stars isn't the 7 for Scott Rolen. The 44 or 46 WAR isn't the 70 for Scott Rolen. Like, Scott Rolen was very deserved, and maybe he didn't scream Hall of Famer, but I think Hall of Fame's just a little bit too exclusive. Like, that guy is a phenomenal player, and I just think that he should be recognized because that position is very rare to be this great offensively and defensively at. And that's why I think Jeff Kent should be a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
He might be a bag of a person, but he has the most home runs for any second baseman. That's historic.
Yes.
That's Hall of Fame
good.
worthy.
The guy he passed up is in the Hall of Fame.
It's really good.
Ryan Sandberg. He's in the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, I think He should have been in a long time ago. I thought the guy who finished second place or didn't make it by one vote, because I think people are punishing him for playing at Coors Field, Todd Helton should be in.
Brutal.
Andrew Jones should be in. He
Got
is
the purple
the
shoes
best,
for Todd Helton today.
literally the
nice.
best center
every
field
day.
defender of all time. Andrew Jones. The best. And he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's a joke at a point where you're like, are we doing the small hall thing? Are we doing the best of the best of the best of the best? Or are we just saying, hey, this guy was the best during his time, especially on defense, and he hit 400 home runs. We should let him in. I don't know what the problem was with voting for Andrew Jones.
Well, and I'll tell you this too, though. There's a lot of people out there who feel that like opinions like maybe like ours. I don't know if I'm unfairly lumping you guys in with me, but that there are a lot more people that do deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. There are other people out there who have the opposite opinion, and they're afraid that, like, as the voting populace gets younger, are we going to see just years where 5 and 6 guys go in? That hasn't happened yet. I mean, for all the people who submitted ballots this year with 7, 8, 9, 10 guys on them, one guy got in.
Yep.
One guy.
Yeah.
So I think the fear that it's going to become less exclusive, oh my God, how can you put in Harold Baines? How can you put in Scott Rolen if there's anybody that has that opinion? It's staying pretty exclusive.
Well, and this is from Jeremy Frank. This is what I've always kind of spoke up about, or why I've spoken up for Buehrle. Percentage of plate appearances taken by players currently in the Hall of Fame. In 1929, over 24% of plate appearances were taken by future Hall of Famers. Just 4% of plate appearances in 2000 were taken by players in the Hall of Fame. Since World War II, I mean, this graph has basically dropped and fallen off. And, I think there was probably a sweet spot, like 24%'s a lot. I don't think 25% of Hall of Famers are worthy, but there's a spot basically from the 70s to the 80s where it was around about, 12.5 to 8.5%, and 4 I think is just way too drastic. Like that 8.5% is huge, and I think part of the 4% too is Barry Bonds isn't in there, Rafael Primero, Sammy Sosa, etc. because of steroids, but also but
David Ortiz is in there,
right? And David Ortiz is in there, but like Todd Helton should be in there. Period. Like it shouldn't take him 7 years. Larry Walker, who's clean, shouldn't take him the full 10. Scott Rolen, same. Like it is a little bit too exclusive, and
I think they do it in coordination. I don't. Not necessarily like they're all calling each other, but the fact that Roberto Alomar didn't get in on his first time because they were punishing him for the spitting on, I think, John McSherry. That, I get it. You want to show that you're not a first ballot Hall of Famer and all that, what that means. But if a person's a Hall of Famer, he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Sean, you say, or maybe Herb, it was you that just said earlier right now, Buehrle's case keeps getting better. Why? If he's a Hall of Famer in your mind, shouldn't he remain a Hall of Famer in your mind? Like, I understand people's minds can change. Scott Rolen, didn't he get 10% on the first ballot?
Yes.
And now he just got 75? How do 65% more of the voters than did however many years ago, all of a sudden, I guess it's right. I guess I was wrong. Scott Rolen is a Hall of Famer. Like, it should have been a lot higher than that.
Yeah. Well, I believe that, I did say that, and I believe that, what was the point that you were bringing up? No, I just forgot.
The Hall of Famer when you're
done playing. I thought Mark Buehrle was a Hall of Famer once he hit the ballot. I was just thinking, though, like, the whole discussion's always been Hall of Very Good. So now it's basically, can we use the 10 years to overcome, 75% of the BBWA? Because you're right. Rolen went from 10%, 17, 35, 52, 63, 76.
That's silly. That to me is silly. And
because guys have to earn it. It's weird.
No, that doesn't make sense.
That's how these voters think.
That doesn't make sense.
And this is the thing, though, that would signal to me that could be some dirty pool there where you got 10%, and then how are you getting more? Like, are you going around to voters?
I think it's an adherence to a tradition kind of thing. Like, like Sean said, you have to earn it. Like, that you shouldn't have to do that, but I think that's what a lot of people think. Like, you say the difference between a first ballot Hall of Famer and a regular Hall of Famer, I guess. Like,
no one cares.
There are a lot of. I mean, there was a guy who didn't put Jeter on his ballot for the first ballot Hall of Famer because he's like, I thought he should have gone in his second year. Like, no. Come on.
Why? What?
Yeah, there are people who
is he a Hall of Famer?
Who didn't vote
That's
for
the question.
Tony Gwynn, Ken Griffey Jr., all players that have been in the Hall of Fame except for Mario Rivera. Somebody didn't vote for him. That's ridiculous to me.
It is ridiculous.
Absolutely
Nolan
ridiculous.
Ryan
They're like, no, fuck off.
There were people that were like, no, thank you.
Too many no-hitters.
Willie Mays.
Yeah, Willie Mays. Hank Aaron.
Yeah. He hit way too many doubles and homers and everything else.
There should be a no-brainer. There should be a thing where we're not voting, guys. He's going in.
That Roberto Clemente, man. I mean, he just he wasn't that good in the field, Was his arm that great? Like, could he throw someone out from behind the wall? He could obviously do it at the wall. Could he do it behind the wall, though? I do just want to roast someone just a little bit. Is it we want to work on our French a little bit? Le Châtelain. How do we say that? Le Châtelain. What are we talking?
You got it.
Okay.
I don't know what that caret above the A does to the A.
Yeah, I don't know either. Lawrence, I feel free. I feel like you might give it a shot. Le Châtelain. I don't know. I'm a.
I'd go with Le Châtelain.
Very good.
Can we get somebody who was actually in France last week? I know that there's a bunch of people that work for us that could help with this.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Grace was the best hitter of the 90s, whole decade. This is from Baseball Reference. It's a website. You can go to it. For players with over 6,000 plate appearances from 1990 to 1999, there are 14 players to meet that requirement. Mark Grace has the second highest batting average.
Yes.
In the 90s.
Yes.
According to OPS Plus, he was at 122, which is the same as Roberto Alomar. The leader in OPS Plus was a guy named Barry Bonds, who sat at 179, also known as 52% better than Mark Grace as a hitter.
There's some guy named Frank Thomas who was better than him, too.
Yeah, Frank Thomas right behind, only 10% worse than Barry Bonds at 169.
I know for those who might not know, he's referring to the stat that Mark Grace has the most hits of any player
and the
in
most
the 1990s.
doubles, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what they hang on to.
Right behind, or right in front of Rafael Palmeiro. I mean...
Are we just bringing up Grace stats or Grace facts?
I just saw that and I was just very surprised.
Met him in Arizona.
He just played first base. Like, it's a very easy position
Mark
to stay
Grace
healthy.
Was good. We don't need to crap on Mark Grace's baseball career, but
best hitter of the 90s.
There were a lot of players who were better than
Barry Bonds was pretty good. Frank Thomas pretty good. Let's take a quick break here, and we'll preview the 2024 Hall of Fame ballot and just give you some of the names that will be on there. Leury Garcia is poised to make this list whenever he retires.
I mean, he will make it.
He will make it. Just
I don't know if anybody will vote for him.
Got to let you know about Greenridge Farm. They're a Chicago local product. They're a local product.
Quite literally.
Yeah, literally.
A local product that you can buy at the Jewels.
They're a meat and cheese company offering you a better all-natural option. They're the makers of all-natural deli meat, sausages, and their famous meat sticks. They're perfect for tailgating, happy hour, and school lunches. And these all-natural meat sticks are hardwood smoked for 8 hours. And these sticks with 16 grams of protein per stick make a perfect post-workout snack. Meat sticks come in chicken, Black Forest beef, and flavors like jalapeno cheddar and spicy chili. If you haven't tried them yet, you don't know what you're missing out on. And they're delicious because they are made from recipes generations in the making. And being all natural, they deliver a fresh and flavorful alternative at snack time. You can always find them in the refrigerated section at Costco, Sam's Club, or in your local Chicagoland grocery store. And right now, when you order any 3 meat products at greenridgefarm.com and include a pack of meat sticks in your cart, those meat sticks will be free simply by using code CHGO at checkout. Greenridge Farm, simply natural meat. Also got to let you know about the ComEd facility assessment. ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve save money and energy. ComEd offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities, whether it's lighting, HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes. And an authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. And these needs can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately, and each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. So don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today. For energy saving tips and to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz. That's ComEd.com/poweringbiz. And if you're ready to sign up for a facility assessment, call us at 1-855-433-270 during normal business hours. ComEd, local product.
I guess so.
I mean,
it's here. Yeah.
I don't know if ComEd serves anything else. I mean, again, it's the communities we serve. I think it's a ComEd. I think it's a Chicago thing. Sole electric provider in Chicago and much of Northern Illinois. Local product.
I've been by that
ComEd.
big power station they got on the other side of the river from Lane Tech. I've walked by there a few times.
Lane Tech, beautiful.
And Power Station.
My grandpa went to high school there. My grandpa, local product.
Local product.
Yeah.
Power Station, also a great band. I don't know if you guys knew about them.
Who?
Feel the Heat. Robert Palmer, Duran got together.
Oh yeah, they
Tony
have,
Thompson.
They're a local product.
No.
He said Power
I said
Station.
the phrase
Power
power
station.
station, so we went off on that.
Some
I got
like
you.
get hot and some sweat when the heat is on.
No, I
Power Station.
That's different from the heat is on.
get it on. I use
right.
that as a
Bang
bet.
it on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use that as a bet at the score.
Rest in peace, Robert Palmer. Not a local product. Didn't know Robert
British,
Palmer
right?
was British until like he started speaking. It's like, what the hell is Robert Palmer speaking British for? Sings that song so well. He's not American.
No, he sounds American.
That and Phil Collins, I got confused with. I was pissed. I don't know
Pissed?
why I was pissed that they weren't American. It's a weird thing kids think about.
Very weird. Can you scroll up real quick, Steven? I do. There was a question about local products earlier, and I just do want to clarify what we would define as a local product. Like I think it was Alec asking where, like what defines locality? How far are we stretching local? Chicago area or Illinois? I was going to
Chicagoland.
call Scott Rolen from Evansville, Indiana, a local
No,
product.
you should not have done that.
No.
No, that would have been incorrect. Yeah.
Like what Chicago Lane
Chicagoland,
area?
yeah, Chicagoland.
So Naperville, local product.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all
No
right.
doubt about it.
But like, would you? I mean, we brought up
DeKalb? No.
Milan to Minsk.
Yeah.
Rochelle.
No, that's way too far out there.
Rochelle's too far.
Yeah.
All right.
Freeport, the pretzels.
No, not local.
Freeport.
Champagne? No, not local. Sorry.
Supernova.
Yeah.
So looking at the 2024 Hall of Fame ballot, returning with the most percentage of votes is going to be Todd Helton. Billy Wagner will be on his 9th year at 68.1%. Gary Sheffield will be in his 10th year at 55%. Andrew Jones in his 7th year at 58%. I do think Andrew Jones will get in at some point, and I do think that it'll probably be in the 10th year because he'll have to earn it. Because there's this whole like narrative around him that he got fat once he got paid, so that means he can't be a Hall of Famer. It's like, no, his stats are
He
still his
stopped
stats. He stopped caring, so his defense got a little bit
Pretty
worse.
decent as a White Sox, and with the Yankees after, I think he was decent.
Yeah.
Not the player where he was in the Braves. He put his body on the line. He probably was broken down by the time he got to the White Sox and the Yankees. But tell me those first 8 years of Andrew Jones' career, you weren't enthralled. The man was getting balls that no one else was getting.
Yeah, and before he got paid, like he was the greatest defensive center fielder of all time, and it wasn't
think he
really
still
close. He still is. Carlos Beltran is probably the only notable person who was on his first year of the ballot in 2023. In his second year, he'll be returning after receiving 46.5% of the votes. A-Rod's an interesting case. He received 35.7%. He's on his third year of eligibility. Again, Buehrle will be in his fourth year at 10.8%, and we'll see how that plays out. For first-year players, interesting names. Adrian Beltre has the most WAR for first-year players. Chase Utley is at 64.5%. He'll be in his first year. Joe Mauer at 55.2. David Wright at 49.2 WAR. Former Cy Young and White Sox legend Bartolo Colon. Love the Michael Jackson story. He's a legend for that reason. Matt Holliday never touched home plate, but he is going to be a first-year ballot. Adrian Gonzalez, Padre and Red Sox legend.
And
gonna be,
Kane County Cougars legend. as
and
well.
Kane
Yeah.
County Cougars legend. Two Jose's, Jose Reyes and Bautista. White Sox killer Victor Martinez. James Shields, Hall of Fame for different reasons.
Waco G.
And then Brandon Phillips, Denard Span, and Chase Headley finish out the list. There's a couple more that are eligible, but they're in the Leary range.
And you know who's good that was kind of buried on that list? You know who was really good? Was Victor Martinez.
Oh, he's great. I mean, and he's just hurt because he was a DH for so long.
That's
But
Chris Sale.
He's
He
a
was
fantastic
really
hitter.
good.
You know what? He's probably the Mark Grace of the 2000s.
Could be.
Most doubles and hits.
Man, he ate Chris Sale's lunch every single time he faced him. It was, you were scared of Miguel Cabrera. You were terrified of Victor Martinez, no matter if he was on the Guardian Indians or the Tigers back then. Man, I hated to see him up at the bat. Just so good.
And we went through it, I think, recently at the end of the season, like who were the biggest White Sox killers. And I think because of his time in Cleveland and Detroit, he is by far the biggest White Sox
Longevity.
killer. He just
Longevity.
never stopped hitting. I mean, in his final year, his final full year, cranked out a 121 OPS, but even in 2014 at 35, a 172 OPS plus, finished second in the MVP voting at 35. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean,
dude just hit and hit and hit. Every year.
It's just insane. Just killing it. But what do we make of the new names outside of Victor Martinez? There's some potential
some
first
slam
ballot?
dunk ones in there for me.
Yeah.
Is Beltre first ballot?
Oh, not even close. Like, they shouldn't have a vote. He should be in automatically.
If you get 300 or 3,000 hits, you automatically be in?
Usually that's how it is.
I think, in my mind, only Michael Jack Schmidt is a better third baseman in the history of the game than Adrian Beltre.
Wow.
I mean,
A-Rod's pretty good. Or is he
no,
shortstop?
he's more
third?
shortstop. But Adrian Beltre, I don't know if you guys remember, he just could hit with the best of them and can glove it too. So, like,
again, just consistent too. Yeah.
And he was bad for a little bit. I think his Dodgers days were not that great. Went to Texas, dominated. He was just a consummate hitter. And yeah, only Michael Jack Schmidt for me is a better third baseman in the history of the game. You know, Nolan Arenado might pass him up when he finishes playing, but for now, it's Adrian Beltre. When you say Joe Mauer, I think Hall of Famer.
Yeah, same.
I know that Minnesota tried to mess him up by moving to that stadium that he's at now, where the hump dome was perfect for him. He could hit balls right off of the garbage baggie or hit him left center field. I could see him hitting home runs off the White Sox with his eyes closed. Here goes the pitch. Here's a home run by Mauer. Mercy. I'll tell you what. Why do we pitch this man?
And we'll be back.
Yeah, why do we pitch this man?
We'll be back.
But otherwise, I mean, Chase Utley, you said, I was like, he'll eventually get in, but not now.
Again,
60 WAR's
position.
a lot.
Position, again, too, is the other thing.
Second
too.
base.
Yeah, second base.
And that dirty play might cause some people with some pause.
Does that really knock you out of the Hall of Fame, though? Like, would Pete Rose be knocked out for ruining that poor man's career, Ray Fosse's career?
No, but Pete Rose
of that
is
hit?
otherworldly.
Well, I know, but
this guy, at the end of his career, doing dirty plays, I think, versus the Mets, and that also got one of the greatest umpire clips we've ever had, where Tom Hallion's telling Terry Collins, Terry, we're going to put our asses in the jackbox if we don't throw him out. That's when Noah Syndergaard threw a ball at the player, and he got thrown out immediately. And so I think eventually Chase Utley will get in, but I don't think the first ballot, especially with people coming back from last year or this year who are going to get in. I believe that Helton's going to get in next year.
Yeah.
Wagner's going to get in next year. Even though he's at 55%, it's his 10th year, Gary Sheffield's going to get in next year. So those things are going to mark down people like Mark Buehrle, who might get off the ballot next year because of so many good people left over this year and the good people who are coming back in 2024. I would say that Utley will probably not make it this year, 2024.
I agree that he won't be first ballot.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it's seemingly like second basemen are just black. You can't make it if you're a second baseman in the Hall of Fame.
And you do
You're
only
not cool enough.
You do only get 10. You know what I mean? So if you take the people who are coming back, which includes some steroid guys who there's a large percentage of, not large enough, but there's a significant percentage of voters who are voting for those players, plus all the new guys that you read. There's a lot of intriguing names on there. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there's just not room for some of these guys, and Mark Buehrle might be one of them.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 votes, and it's tough. I would have.
This is on
Helton.
the Sean Anderson made up.
Yes, this is my
Hall of Fame ballot.
My
Okay.
mock 2024
Gotcha.
ballot that won't even be official until like December 2023.
Right.
Helton, Wagner, Jones, Beltran, Rodriguez, Buehrle, K-Rod.
Which one?
A.
Both Rodriguez's.
Alex
Alex and K-Rod.
Yeah, A and
K-Rod.
K-Rod.
Oh, okay.
A-Rod and K-Rod. Adrian Beltre, Chase Utley, Mauer. That's the 10.
It's hard to argue with that, to be
good
quite
players.
honest. Yeah.
I mean, Joe Mauer, I think
You put Beltran on yours?
Yeah,
same,
easily.
yeah.
I mean, 3,000 hits. I think that should usher you in. Third all time for WAR among third basemen. Only Schmidt and Eddie Matthews are above him. Wade Boggs is below Adrian Beltre. And Wade Boggs, I mean, I didn't watch him play. I've always heard pretty good baseball player, good beer drinker, and also good baseball player.
Ate chicken.
Wade Boggs Carpet World, Wade Boggs Carpet World, Wade Boggs Carpet World.
I think he ate chicken before every game.
As he should have. It worked. Maybe I should eat chicken before every show.
Eat more chicken any man ever seen.
Yeah. Shout out to the guy in Philly who ate like 40 rotisserie chickens in a day, or 40 straight days of eating a rotisserie chicken.
A whole rotisserie chicken?
The full thing?
Whole thing.
From Costco or from Jules?
I mean,
Well, it's Philly.
Philly.
So
Yeah,
the whole
probably
way to eat it, though, right?
Oh, they eat it from their gas station.
Yeah, it's all
the
gas
Wawa.
station. Yeah, right. All their food comes from the gas
Oh,
station in Philly.
you want to eat tonight? Yeah, let's go to the gas station. All right, cool.
Ooh.
I mean, I guess we could say that because we have Casey's here now, and people are like, oh, they'll give them Casey's Pizza. Like, we live in Chicago. Stop getting Casey's Pizza. Are they a sponsor?
No.
Stop getting Casey's Pizza.
Who would go to
Get
the
their gas.
Who would go to the gas station for
Oh
pizza?
my God. So many people,
very
their
popular
breakfast
in
pizza or
Central
this, that, and the
Illinois.
other. Stop it. I bet you somebody in these comments like, man, Herb, you got to try it first. I'm like, I'm not trying gas station pizza. I'm
only
not.
person that I know that likes Casey's Pizza is my cousins, and I love my cousin, and I love his fiance. My cousin's fiance, who is from Iowa, in the middle of Iowa, not even near a city. Like, just only person that I know that likes Casey's Pizza and is their favorite pizza is a hick.
All right,
and I lovingly call them a hick.
Sean, I got your transition for you perfect right here. If you like gas station pizza, you are not a local product.
I very agree. Also, that fiance is not uneducated or unsophisticated, so I didn't mean to. It just, country. You're just not.
It just makes you not a
Chicago.
local product.
You're
That's
just
all
not
it
a
is.
local
You're just
product.
not a local
Exactly.
product.
Yeah, if you live in the middle of Iowa, there's pizza choices are probably not great.
No, it's not, and it's all like taco pizza. And just to
Nothing wrong with taco pizza, especially from Godfather's.
well, I've only had taco pizza in Iowa, so that's why
I can tell you the gas station pizza was really popular at ISU. And it was disgusting. They had this thing called a breakfast pizza. Have you guys heard of this?
That's what they
They
always
put
talk about.
eggs on top of the pizza. Like, I love eggs, but don't put that on my pizza.
Vito and Nick's does that, and it's like a breakfast pizza, but like
Yeah,
they have
breakfast
good pizza.
pizzas are not unique to gas stations.
I think
Steven.
it just has
Is this a thing elsewhere?
Breakfast
Why
pizza
are
is a
people doing
thing,
this?
yes.
This is don't do that.
because an egg's kind of fatty to run, kind of cut through a pizza. You add some sausage. Sausage
Now,
is
he
normal.
do a sunny side up egg, cool. But if it's a scrambled egg, that doesn't make any damn sense.
No, it's
scrambled.
But it's a different thing altogether. It's not like you get a pizza and then you add scrambled eggs to it. You do the dough, then you do the scrambled eggs, some sauce, some breakfast sausage. Some people will put gravy on there in place of pizza sauce. It's just a totally different thing. It doesn't really count.
Your guy Connor is saying anybody in Indiana, if they've ever had the taco pizza from Pizza King, that it's unreal.
I'm not trusting any pizza from Indiana.
I agree with you. Just to go to second baseman real quick, if we're bringing up Adrian Beltre being third all-time for third baseman, Chase Utley is 12th all-time for WAR, just behind Willie Randolph, Roberto Alomar, Ryan Sandberg, Robinson Cano, Bobby Grich, Frank Frisch. I like that Frisch and Grich are right next to each other. Lou Whitaker, Charlie Gehringer, Joe Morgan, Nap Lajoie, and Eddie Collins. So he's right above Jeff Kent. Jeff Kent's at 15th at 55.4. Chase Utley has about 10 more WAR than Jeff Kent. So we just talked about Jeff Kent being the all-time leader at home run. I mean, Chase Utley might have a better resume than Jeff Kent to get in. And also, I mean, like, Jeff Kent is, again, known as being like a rude, bad person to the media and just not a great teammate. Chase Utley has always been heralded as like a great teammate, just, had that one dirty play. I don't think it's going to hold him out of the Hall of Fame. But
No, not eventually. He'll get in.
He'll get in. It'll be a talking point for sure, though.
I think both of the Philadelphia people eventually, him, J-Roll, will be in the Hall of Fame together. White Sox legend Jimmy Rollins.
You think Jimmy Rollins is going to get
Oh,
in?
yeah.
Really?
2016 champion. For that alone, he should get in the Hall of Fame.
For just winning the World Series, being on a team that won the World Series?
No, for 2016, getting Drake LaRoche kicked out of the clubhouse and getting Adam LaRoche off of the White Sox.
Hey, remember that home run he hit in Oakland?
Oh, man.
It was awesome.
Good times.
All right, Jimmy Rollins, 12.9% of the vote, and he'll be on his third year. So, I mean, hey, maybe he's got a Scott Rolen campaign in him. I do want you to go up to Marco's comment, Steven, because we got to take a break here. You got to let you know about Game Time. They are the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. Unfortunately, they don't have local product Genesee Theater tickets, so I cannot get the Tuska tribute show for tomorrow night. It's tempting, Marcos, and thank you for
Sean will
for
be
hyping
going.
it up.
Even if he can't get a ticket on Game Time, he'll still be at the show.
You'll find me there.
He's going to be the show. He is the show.
I am. I actually am all 6 members.
Yes.
I've learned the horns
And the marching
for this.
band.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We have that on track, but I'm the one pressing the
Disappointing.
track button for play. But Marcos has been a guy that's gotten game time tickets for the Padres when he's out in California. He's gotten Hawks tickets, a loyal user of Game Time, a loyal listener of CHGO. They have the hottest new ticketing, it's the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals to tickets, sports, concerts, and shows. If you ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could, the 50-yard line, courtside, behind home plate, floor seats at a concert, it is possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on seats you never thought you could buy, and you won't find a better deal this year on tickets to Blackhawks or Bulls games. The Hawks are currently on a West Coast trip. They won't be back in the UC until February 7th, and the Bulls are returning from Indiana, but they also have to stop in Charlotte and Orlando. They'll be back on the 31st. So you might want to wait until those days because, again, biggest last-minute price drops can be found on Game Time. It was created by the fans for the fans, and it guarantees the lowest price. So if you love CHGO, then you'll love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. Join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events. Let's wrap it up with some Nicky Lopez talk here. The White Sox.
Local product.
Local product.
Yeah.
The White Sox, local product, are interested.
That they are.
And this is per Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. Are they a local product?
The Athletic?
Yeah. John Greenberg, was that New York?
Kind of.
Ish.
Yeah, maybe kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Local product.
First time I heard it was John Greenberg
Yeah.
in Chicago. I think he was the one who spearheaded it. So local product.
He's a local product, right?
Oh,
I know
yeah.
he went to Ohio, which is not a local product. That's in
happened?
I
Ohio.
think he might be from Pittsburgh.
Maybe.
He's always talking about the Pirates.
That's true.
Yeah. We'll see.
That
I'll
rings
get
a
to the
bell.
bottom
I think
of this.
him and Joe Colley might be the Pittsburgh
Yeah.
media fans.
Yeah, I'll get to the bottom
in
of this.
Chicago.
Yeah.
But
But
anyway,
Pittsburgh, but Collie from Cleveland.
not a local product.
Not a local
Not a
product.
local product. Nicky Lopez, local product, though. Ken Rosenthal in The Athletic, yada, yada, yada. So the White Sox are interested in Nicky Lopez, and the Royals are not interested in trading Nicky Lopez. What story do we have? You just wrote an article at AllCHGO about this topic. What do you make of this? Is this the White Sox making a push? Is this because of some bad news that was in the cycle yesterday, and they're trying to bury it? I don't know. It was very weird timing while we're doing the show.
Yeah, whatever. Right? You call it a coincidence in terms of timing. It makes perfect sense to me that the White Sox would be looking to perhaps buy low on a second base option that could become part of their mix, we'll say. I think Nicky Lopez is a guy who has major league experience at the position, which is something that Romy Gonzalez and Lenyn Sosa do not have much of. If you want some certainty, if you want some dependability, you can get that in a guy like Nicky Lopez. That being said, you'd be certain that you'd be getting some offensive numbers that aren't very good. He's only had 1 year in his career where he has been an above-average major league hitter. In all the others, he's been a vastly below-average major league hitter. He plays a fine defensive second base. He's stolen some bases. And perhaps most importantly, he just has spent his entire major league career alongside Pedro Grifol, who might be giving the same stamp of approval that he gave to Andrew Benintendi. But again, what did we say? If it comes to the White Sox and adding a veteran second baseman, it's probably not going to be somebody who excites the fan base and fires everybody up. This could just be a case of, the White Sox saying, let's go out and find somebody who can provide a little bit of a challenge during spring training, a position battle, and maybe the best case scenario that they have in their mind is Romy Gonzalez proving that he's the much better option at second base and having Lopez as a backup infielder. He's played some shortstop. He's played some third base. He could be a guy who can maybe bounce around the infield when a guy like TA or Yohan Moncada needs a day off as well. So, makes sense they'd be interested. I think the Royals see the same kind of thing, though, and they see a guy that they've known and that's been a part of their organization for a long time, and they'd be happy to have him as a backup infielder on their team. So when it comes to the White Sox and Nicky Lopez, I think it's going to be that kind of guy, that level of player that they might look to add at second base, which, if you'll remember earlier this month, Rick Hahn said could certainly be a possibility that they add at second base before the start of the season.
As Sam Phelan says right here, Nicky Lopez, 5.9 WAR, F4 in 2021, better than Sosa or Romy.
True.
It is a good year, but I don't know if it's repeatable. I don't know if he can still do that same thing he had. It's a flash in the pan, as Vinnie said. Like, for the most part, he has been a below-average hitter, especially with no power. Even in that year, he really doesn't have any power. I think he's hit a career total of 5 home runs in his whole major league career. Now, he plays at Kauffman Stadium. what we said with Andrew Benetti goes for him. He's a left-handed hitter. That stadium is not very conducive to power. It's more conducive to doubles and triples and such. So I would think that it's worth a flyer, especially if the price isn't a lot, but the Royals don't seem too interested as they're trying to hold off on people coming from because they don't know if Mike Massey's ready to take that all-together second base position and just go and run with it. So they're trading away Adalberto Mondesi to the Red Sox and probably fielding offers for Nicky Lopez and not probably like looking in division as they've already traded one player, Michael A. Taylor, to the Twins. They're probably like, huh?
B-.
Yeah, sorry. They traded a player in division. I would be very skeptical if they did it again with this player. I would also wonder, what do they know that we don't know that they're so willing to trade this player of need for us so easily to us? And so
I think they've looked at his baseball reference page.
and so I would be like, I'm more fine with Sosa and Romy than going Nicky Lopez because that's still a question mark itself. You know the fielding's going to be decent, but you don't know if the bat's going to be there. With Romy and Lenyn Sosa, you know maybe they can pop off some home runs.
I don't know.
But
I feel
Lenyn Sosa, he's done it in the minors.
But he's done it in the minors, but we saw him up at the major league level, and he really, was
That was
able
his first cup of coffee.
Struggled to tread water.
Romy Gonzalez should have a lot more power than Nicky Lopez.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Nicky
absolutely.
Lopez has 5 home runs in 4 years of playing Major League Baseball.
The power, absolutely.
Yeah.
Lenyn Sosa and Romy Gonzalez have more power. I just don't know if the true hit tool is there. Like, they have more power, but can they put bat to ball? Can they, actually produce? Nicky Lopez right now is a major league fielder. Like, I don't know if Romy and Lenyn have that ability just yet. And we know that Yolbert Sanchez is the best fielder out of those, the 3 in-house options for the White Sox. But Nicky Lopez easily comes in and is the best defensive player for the White Sox at second base. And just looking at some of the StatCast outs above average stuff, in 2020 at every position he played, 7 outs above average, both at shortstop and second base. 2021, 25 outs above average, most of that at shortstop in 561 attempts. Only played 14 attempts in 2021 at second base. And then last year at second base, 224 attempts, 4 outs above average. It's not, I don't know if he's going to have 25 ever again, but I do think that, especially with the shift and him maintaining one side, having that range of a shortstop is huge. I think he is easily the best defender for the Sox, and if they could fill up that hole, and they've been able to fill up every other hole with seemingly major league level defenders, right field's really the biggest question mark, and I know some people have question marks about Andrew Vaughn because he hasn't played a lot of first base at the major league level, but
Bigger
this
bases
would be
this year.
Bigger bases.
So help him out.
Yeah, he needs to put lifts in his shoes. But yeah, I think this would be a huge upgrade for the Sox if they were able to get this from a defensive standpoint. You don't need your second baseman to hit.
Well, I mean, sure would. Yeah, you do.
It wouldn't hurt. But
I mean, do they want to win the World Series or not? I mean, listen, I don't know if you could call Nicky Lopez an upgrade. I think what you could call him is a veteran who knows how to play Major League Baseball and has shown that he can do it at the Major League level, even if it's not terribly impressive.
And real quick, sorry, just to cut you off, like the 2021 year, like that just kind of shows you why BABIP is important, because in 2019, 273, 2020, 260, last year, 265. In 2021, 347.
Oof.
And that's kind of the whole gap. And that's the reason, I mean, he's been around 50 weighted runs created plus in every other season, and he's above 100 in the one season. He has a 340 or 340 plus BABIP. Like, that BABIP is complete luck. He's not hitting the ball hard. He's not striking it. And it's basically the Adam Frazier issue where it was like, he's blooping balls up, and that's not great luck. So, like, there is questions with the bat.
We'll put it this way. If they were to get Nicky Lopez to add to the internal options they got, and Nicky Lopez won the starting second base job, that would not speak very well to the internal options that they had already, and that they've already claimed that they would have confidence in, that those guys could help them win. Nicky Lopez could maybe be a good depth piece, in terms of just a glove off the bench. But if you're the White Sox and you bring Nicky Lopez in to spring training, Romy Gonzalez better be a lot better than him.
Yeah.
Or else you still need a second baseman.
Nicky Lopez presents a nice floor that the White Sox can count on. We know where he's going to be. Those other two, I think the ceiling's through the roof. But their floor is on the ground.
I don't know if it's through the roof, but it should be higher than the Nicky Lopez ceiling.
I mean, I believe in Lenyn Sosa. I think he should get more of a chance than he has last year. Like somebody said, he was rushed up here. The fact that he passed up Sanchez last year surprised me. And then when he got here, he really didn't play a lot. He was just spelling people. I was like, if you're gonna call a person up, call him up and let him play.
He got about 5 days worth of starts and got one hit.
Yeah, it was a home run, and it was off a quad A guy for the Royals, and he hung a curveball,
and he murdered that ball. And
but it was a hung curveball, like it was middle, and
those happen in Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
and he's going to punish him.
It was against Jonathan Heasley.
I guarantee you, local product Naperville Central's best, Nicky Lopez is not going to hit a home run off a hanging curveball
because he's 5'6". He's like Nicky Madrigal.
So
it's just bringing back
another
Nicky
second baseman's
5'6",
and Altuve hits home runs, hits tanks.
Steven wants Madrigal back, it sounds like.
No, I don't want that.
No one does.
Like third base.
No. He's probably available, though.
What are the Cubs
and
doing?
they're different, obviously. Madrigal's got a better hit tool than Lopez, but Lopez has proven to be a better base runner and
man
defender.
got a good arm for a second base, and they're like, let's trade him at third base. God, Cubs.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Cubs are starting him at third base?
They're
giving him reps.
Giving him reps at third
It
base.
seems very much like
It's an Eloy right field situation.
Eloy in right field.
Gotcha.
Because he's not playing second base because that's
A good player's job.
yeah. Necro.
Let's real quick before we wrap this up and get to the power rating rankings for second base here. I do just want to go to Reddit. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But in the thread about Ken Rosenthal, Jason 8292, there's a lot of 2s and 9s throwing me off. He's from Naperville, and then Spatescast 101 said smoked weed with him in high school. Nice dude. So hey, nice guy. He coming to a legal state. Good for Nicky Lopez.
Those shifty people in Naperville, man. I never trust those Red Hawks.
It just reminded me of Step Brothers. I smoked pot with Johnny Hopkins. Power rating, the second base position. Right now, if you had to say, we're going for Lenyn Sosa, Romy Gonzalez, the field, Nicky Lopez.
What's the field? The field on the White Sox?
The field is anybody.
Anyone in baseball.
Anyone in baseball. It could be in the White Sox organization. It could be anybody they could trade for.
Okay.
It could be the free agent.
Okay.
Like right now, like what? How would you rank? Like who is probably the leading for the like? Sorry,
I got you.
the White Sox clearly still have interest at a second baseman. So do you think that Romy Gonzalez is the leader in the clubhouse for this position, or do you think that they're still interested in an outside guy more?
You're asking me for the White Sox opinion or my opinion?
Your opinion.
My opinion, the field is the best in the power rankings. Field, Romy, Lenyn.
Okay.
I would go, like, yes, I don't want Nicky Lopez, but that doesn't mean there's not a second baseman out there who's a little bit better. Even Stevens' guy, Josh Harrison, I would take back here on the White Sox because these two guys present question marks. I know what I'm going to get with Josh Harrison. Not a great bat, top-notch defense.
Not a lot of hustle.
And lack of hustle, and he's going to be riding in the chopper. Get to the chopper.
Steven, you're just wrong. You're just wrong, Steven.
He dogs it. He does
not dog it.
I like the guy.
He
I'll
does
say
the
that.
motorcycle thing. If he just didn't do the motorcycle thing,
He could have had a
You
triple.
would be like, oh, okay.
Vinnie, I won't sweat when he gets back in the dugout.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I mean, it was probably just like March or April. It probably just wasn't that hot out. I mean,
He's just mad that he was doing the motorcycle thing.
No,
That's
the
all.
motorcycle thing's fine if you wait until you get there and then do it.
This feels very much like should I run through first base or should I slide? I don't think it's going to save that much time. I
You
think,
should never slide.
right,
Never.
but like,
Right.
it's not quicker to
through
slide
it.
into first base. I don't think it's going to be that much quicker if he runs the last 10 feet
Correct.
instead of
He had a double. If he went for third base, he would have
be
been
out.
out by a mile.
I want him to think he has.
Do you
a
want to
triple.
be? Do you want him to be safe at second base or caught in a pickle between second and third?
I want him to make the center fielder make that throw to third.
He had a double. He hit a double.
The oldest 29-year-old ever.
Damn
Steven,
right. Stay off my lawn.
The power rankings.
Yes.
I think from what I've seen, they would be well served to bring in somebody with some more certainty at second base, and then Romy, and then Lenyn Sosa. But perhaps the White Sox are privy to some offseason work that we are not, and they have budding confidence in Romy Gonzalez's ability to have a very nice season at second base. So I don't know if I could tell you that the White Sox are going to go out and get a second baseman. Hearing that they're interested would lead me to believe that they probably are interested in providing, at the very least, some competition. And I think having a veteran presence there makes a whole lot of sense. we will see if that's the way it plays out.
If they acquired Nicky Lopez, do you think that he would win the job, or do you think it would be competition?
He would have to. There's no reason to acquire him if he's not starting. He's not otherwise you just go with these guys.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, there's no reason to get him unless he's going to be guaranteed the guy, not a competition, the guy, because you're giving up some capital either way. So, yeah, I would want him to start immediately.
And they can like Romy Gonzalez all they want, and we saw that, you mentioned it in your post, that they
prominently
included him,
featured.
Yeah, they included him in the social media post. And
there's like 5 guys in that video, and he was one of them.
Yeah, and two of them weren't even on the team. They were all talking about prove it. And
him and Colas, yeah.
Colas wasn't here.
It was Grandal, Robert, Romy, Colas, and who else?
That's a great question.
Cease?
I don't think it was a pitcher. Was it Lucas?
I don't know.
No, I have to go back.
But when I saw Colas and Romy in the commercial, I was like, okay, they're telling us something, because you wouldn't run a promo like that without having certainty from upper management people, right? I would think upper management like, why are you running Romy stuff? We're not even sure if he's the guy yet.
Is it just because they have the B-roll of it? Like, because they have B-roll, like,
they don't need to run it?
Well, because Gonzalez and Colas are working with the hitting coach.
Right.
They're in Miami working with the hitting coach.
They're in Miami,
this
bitch.
offseason.
Yeah, so I think it's just because they have B-roll of it. I mean, so Luis is in Miami, so is Colas, so is Romy. They got, obviously, the B-roll for Dylan when they did the Day in the Life.
And Grandal's right over here on the west side.
Yeah, so I mean, that just
right over there
makes sense why those are the players, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think it's signaling anything. And two, like, what James Fox has said of Future Sox, talking about Romy Gonzalez's kind of 2020 and 2021 is he's dealt with a lot of injuries. He's kind of been up, down, struggled in 2022 just because he didn't have a lot of consistency. Maybe him starting out in AAA would be a good thing just because he could find some footing, find some confidence, doesn't have to go up against major league pitching, try to use all of this positive work that he's put into, and then maybe the White Sox have a decent utility player. But I just don't understand the sense of trading for a player. Just go get Josh Harrison. And if Josh Harrison sucks, cut him, and then Romy Gonzalez can be called up. Like, I do think it's the field leading the pack right now. I do think the White Sox are still interested in adding somebody, but I would probably put Romy and then Lenyn 2-3. I don't think that Romy's been given this job in any way. Colas, maybe.
I would totally agree that there is the chances of Oscar Colas winning the right field job is dramatically higher than the chances of Romy Gonzalez winning the second base job. That absolutely. But I don't know. Maybe they think Gonzalez is good and could be the guy. But we'll see. Again,
I think so.
Spring training brings a lot of other people in that you don't think about, and maybe this is the year where someone that you're not thinking about vaults up that list, or maybe it's a kind of thing where they bring in somebody that is on none of our radar right now. And, the third day of camp, White Sox have signed so-and-so to a minor league deal. Oh, yeah, that's the guy, obviously.
I forget who's mentioned it in camp, but, like, Davis Martin wasn't on any of our radars. And then, he just kind of came out of nowhere, and he was putting all this great work in the offseason that we didn't know with Ethan Katz.
Yep.
And that was because of the lockout. He wasn't a major league guy, so he could work with Ethan Katz, and that work paid off. So maybe Romy Gonzalez is here and ready to produce. You never know. That is local product, Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber, Geneva's finest. That is Wheat North's finest, Herb Lawrence.
Go Falcons.
Go Falcons. You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson, proud Brother Ice alum. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Stag's own Stephen Nicholas for producing the show, and for everyone for hanging out with us in the chat. We'll be with you tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another CHGO Live White Sox podcast. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you tomorrow.